Hello, it's Kathy McAllister, Teawife Creations. How are you today? So, I've been meaning to do this Spring Blossoms window insert, Sawdust Makery. So, it's the one of the seasonal inserts for the window box or the breadboard. And I figured that maybe I should do it while it was still spring. Uh, it's been kind of chaotic over here. So let me get rid of my little picture. Okay. So anyway, you can see that it's got a lovely watering can and it says Spring Blossoms. So these pieces will pop out after I paint them. Actually, I do recommend before you use these frames to hold your little pieces, but I do recommend, because they have tabs in them, that you pop them out before you sponge paint them, because the acrylic will act as a glue. So you want to release these, and then when you get ready to paint them, you can put them back in to hold them in place for you, and then it will be easier to get them out. So because the glue can act as an adhesive. So I'm going to do some base coating, and I really, really, really want a pink watering can, because, see, I love pink. I love pink. I love pink. I want a pink watering can, but I'm going to try something a little different, and I don't know how it's going to work. So since I'm going to do this in pink, I'll have to figure out kind of more of a lavender color for the flowers next to it. Since I don't want to compete too much, I can bring in some different tones of pink, because I think I'm going to bring in my favorite vintage pink. Go with the vintage pink, which kind of is similar also to like a terracotta. But anyway, I digress. And then I think I'll go with the white daisy with some yellow highlights. But anyway, I'm going to start base coating, and you can watch along as I base coat. I know it can be very mesmerizing to watch people base coat, but I'll probably, for the purpose of this recording, speed it up. So I'll be speed painting. So I'm going to grab my paints, and I'm going to start doing some base coating. So although I'm going to eventually use vintage pink on the watering can, I first am going to do it in a metallic. So I'm using silver. So, and I think most of this below doesn't show, but actually it's probably okay if it's all silver down here, I think. Well, maybe I'll do it a different color. I don't know. I don't know without my window box how far down that goes, but I could have done the whole thing, just done it in silver, but I'm going to keep the silver to the watering can area. So you can use whatever metallic silver you have if you want to do it this way. So I'm using a Deco Art Dazzling Metallic. And all of this here is covered up, so like if I go outside it doesn't matter. This up here is not, so you want to be somewhat careful around the foliage, because that you will be painting some type of foliage green color. And the same over here. You can go outside the lines if you want, because everything in this little area here is covered up. This is not, so don't be getting your color on the tulip if you can help it. There's a tulip here that's covered up, but do your best not to get the color there. I got a touch of it, but I think it's okay. And some of this will be sticking out the back, so you need to keep that in mind. You'll have to do something on the back, whether you paint the entire back one color or a combination of colors. That's up to you. You just want to make sure that it isn't just raw wood, because it will be showing out the back. My line is not great there. Where the watering can ends and the foliage begins. And again, that bee's covered up. And I'm probably going to end up doing 2 coats. Of course, the heart goes over the top here, so you don't even have to paint that area at all. Sometimes I find that if I go ahead and paint it, I end up having a smoother application, especially like I'm going to do some texturizing and stuff. And if I just do it to the heart, then it feels like it has stop and start lines to it. So anyway, it's up to you how you want to handle the areas like that are going to be covered up anyway. And again, this tulip is not covered up, but this flower is, so you can cross over where this flower is, but try to avoid the tulip over here. You don't go slinging paint. The bee is an extra piece, so you can go over the bee area without having to worry. Okay, so my brush isn't too terribly wet here. I'm gonna, oops, I was a little wet. I was trying to not press down too hard on those areas with the water holes. I don't want to lose those holes. Okay, so I think I need a second coat. I'm going to let this dry, and just a second coat will just bring a little bit more consistent coverage. So I'm going to do one more coat and I'll be back. Okay, so I've done some base coating. So I actually did it while you guys weren't watching me. I had some updates on my computer, so I didn't have my camera. So these pieces here are all in warm white. So those are warm white. The daisy, the wings on the bee, and this scallop piece here. And then I used a really cool color. It's newish. It's been around for about a year, called Love Potion. It's kind of translucent, super dark, but it gives us the ability to do some layering with dry brushing and stuff. So that was Love Potion. And then this tulip and the heart were Dragon Fruit. Okay. Let me see if I can go in one. Yeah, okay. And then this piece that goes over these bigger flowers. Originally I did them in Lilac Meadow, but then I came back and I went back over them with Frosted Plum because I want to use this as a highlight. That they were too light. If you start with this, then you don't really have anywhere to go. And so they look pretty good with that. And so, you know, now I can use Lilac Meadow as a highlight. So Love Potion goes really well with Frosted Plum. And then that Lilac Meadow could be used as a highlight. These guys are in black. I popped out the stripes and did the stripes, the centers of the daisies, and these buttons in Sunset Gold. So those are Sunset Gold. This, of course, we talked about, that was originally done in Silver Metallic. The leaves were sponged in New Leaf. And that leaves these little flowers here, which were done in Razzleberry. Trying to, yeah, so that dragon fruit for the heart, raspberry for those tulips. And I think those are all the base coat colors I've done so far. I usually leave the sign last. So this is the sign that slides in on the window box because I kind of want to see how all of it ties together before I commit to a color, because the sign really does need to not look like it's a separate entity. All right, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. Whenever you're working on metallics, that sometimes it can not take like shading and paint exactly the way you want. So it kind of repels everything. So I'm going to take this light umber Prismacolor pencil, which is a 941, and I'm going to start thinking about where I want my shading to be. So I would think that this spout would probably throw a shadow. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to color in a shade with the darker part being the closest to the spout. And I'm going to also have a little bit of shade coming from this side of the spout, because I'm guessing that this bit up here is going to get more light. So again, this is a light umber colored pencil from Prismacolor. Okay, and then I drew a line in here, and this, normally you would have a seam like this. It wouldn't be straight. It's similar here too, but I don't really know how to do it on that piece as well. But you're gonna have a line here, a seam line, and I'm just gonna bring that shade down so you can see how easy this is. So like if you're not really much of a fan of shading, this is a really kind of a cool, easy way to add in shading. And you're really supposed to sort of do it in these smaller circles, but it really doesn't matter too much in a process like this. Okay, so my heart is also going to throw a bit of shade underneath it. So I have a fairly light hand when I do this. You don't want to just completely etch it in, because if you do, then it makes it difficult for layers of pencil to go on top of it, because these pencils have wax in them and layers of the color kind of build up. And then if you try to put more color on, it just repels the other colored pencil colors. So you want to make sure that you don't just go crazy and just, apply it really hard and tough. So underneath the heart would be the darkest area, and then you can lighten up as you go out. You don't want to leave like a fake line here, so that's why you kind of have to go even lighter as you come out. So, and then here I put a line in here because normally you'll see like a twist in the handle. So you'll get the way that your eye perceives it, like there will be shading underneath here, and that you're kind of getting this twist in the metal that you see. So, and then over here, as it comes together, where the weld point is, we're going to put in a bit of shading up here as well. And then I'm going to use a slightly darker color to go back over some of those areas, but that's kind of the beginning. So also you would have a bit of shading being thrown by the flowers, so you'd have some shading up here. One thing you have to do whenever you use pencils on acrylic, so these are going to smear if you're painting directly over them. So you really kind of have to fix them and seal them. And there's a number of fixatives that you can use. One of the easiest ones, because it's a spray, is Final Fix. And I use that. I have it on my website as well. Now, I don't know if I want it to hit some of these areas that have my base coat on them. I don't really want to fix them yet, so I may just kind of spray and cover that up. But I need to make sure that I spray the pencil area for sure. Okay, so let me see. And you can like brush on something like Joe Sonya's Fast Dry Glaze Medium. Fast Dry Glaze Medium. The only problem with that is sometimes it moves the pencil because you're brushing it on. This is wonderful because it's a spray, and I might need a little bit more than that. I might need one more coat. But I'm going to dry this. That's the other thing that's really good about the SpectraFix products is you can use a blow dryer heat tool with them. So all of the greenery is pretty small. You could come in again with pencil and highlight it and shade it, or you could even use like alcohol markers. There's nothing that says you have to come in with acrylic paint. But I will do this a little bit more traditionally. And this is avocado that I'm going to use to add in some shading. So that it's a slightly different tone. And I could come back in too with like a little bit of asphaltum to give it a little bit of shading. And I might still do that. So just trying to figure out where the lines are in here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You're basically just giving the eye a little indication of where the highlights and the lowlights are. So this area in here is going to be covered, but just pretend that, you can see the full shading. And this is pretty light, so I probably do need to come back with something a little bit darker. It's just not dark enough. Just not dark enough. Just trying to make sense of where the direction of everything. So I was kind of curious what would happen if I used like an alcohol marker to do some of the shading. I'm going to grab one and just kind of see. So let me grab one. Okay, so this is a Copic marker, and it's got two different sides to it. The chisel edge, and this is so small you probably have to use the brush edge. And it is, what color? It is grayish olive, which is kind of like this avocado. So you can already see some of the tone from the avocado, but it wasn't really dark enough. You'd probably have to go with like a Hauser medium or something, or you could go with a brown. But I'm just for grins, I'm gonna put this in. So it definitely is showing a lot more. And so this is just kind of another easy way, if you have some of these alcohol markers in your craft stash. Might be kind of cool to play with them. So, and you're just kind of lightly going over them. And the more you go over an area, the more it will layer. So for instance, I don't want this line showing, so I'm just going to come out a little bit, and that will help to blend the color a little bit more. And then I'm going to come back with paint and add in some highlights. So anyway, when you're dealing with something as small as this, sometimes using a marker can help. So, and again, we're not trying to do anything super special here. It's not like, oh, wow, this is fine art. And nope, we're just trying to give our eye this feeling of something being, you know, a little bit different and dimensional. Just kind of fooling your eye because it's such a small area that you can't do too much with it. Okay, so then if I come back with a lighter color, I have Irish moss, I have avocado toast. So let me see here. If I come back with, I'll start with a little bit of avocado toast as a float. And then I can come back with the Irish moss, which is lighter. So that's avocado toast, and that's Irish moss, which is one of my favorite colors. I have a thing about Irish moss and also the Victorian pink. I'm sorry, vintage pink. I always want to call it Victorian. So we're just going to go in a little bit here and there. Where we perceive is a lighter area, where we think we're seeing a lighter area. And again, I was starting with avocado toast, and then I'm going to go to that Irish moss to make it pop more. So you're just adding in a little here, a little there, you know. I have this setting now on my messages that's driving me crazy. I did an update on my software, and it keeps dinging at me every time I get a message. So, you know, if you don't have any alcohol markers or Prismacolor pencils or whatever, then, you know, just float and shade with paint. But I just wanted to see something a little different. I do think on these small areas that alcohol marker really kind of made it easier. A lot easier. Sometimes getting into these small spaces to shade, it's like, oh my goodness, please don't torture me like that. So sometimes it's nice to have something else you can do. I love Irish moss. It's just so poppy. It pops. It just does something super special. Okay, so that does a little bit of something in there. Let me just see how this is looking. So the big one goes there. I think. Did I do this backwards? No. I thought that maybe I had put the paint on the wrong side. Oh, duh, hello. Let me do a puzzle. So anyway, it looks a little bit more interesting in there with the leaves. Okay. So now we have these guys that are going to go on top. So we'll play with those. So we need to do something with the flowers. We're going to do a lot with this, with the watering can, but I was just going to do this first. Okay. So we're going to take a bit of Sunny Day. I think I need a new palette sheet here. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so we're going to use a little bit of Sunny Day, but also we're going to try to tie in some colors because we're going to be using this vintage pink on the watering can. So I may add in a little bit onto these daisies, because even if you have white daisies, you know how they really have other colors in them. They're not just white. and that was warm white. I used warm white. So this is Sunny Day. So we're gonna walk it out, this color. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I like it. So we're walking it out. Walking out that sunny day. Okay. One more. This is so fast and easy to do this. And then you have to decide whether you want a bit of shading or not. It's always hard to know sometimes when you're doing flowers how much shading you want. Okay, so then I want to, wondering if I want to bring that out further. No, I was trying to decide whether to bring that color out further. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of this vintage pink. Do a little bit of the vintage pink, and I don't want it to be quite so much. Just coming and putting in just a little bit. I didn't do that very well. I might have to revisit it. Didn't work exactly the way I was planning, because it came off really heavy when I laid it down initially, and I don't want it to be so heavy. So this is going to be covered, so I'm going to kind of go back over that so it's just not quite so strong. But then I did that one and I didn't get hardly any. So all right, so that gives us a little bit of extra color. And then what I want to do is I want a little bit of Snow White, because this was warm white. Still thinking whether I want more yellow. I don't know. So I'm going to get Snow White, titanium white, and I need a dry brush. I need a dry brush. I need a dry brush. I'm going to use one of my soft dry brushes. I do love these Dynasty 200 brushes that are dry brush or a blender. Okay, so we want the ends to be bright. Okay, now I'm going to take my dirty brush and I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow and a little bit more of the white. There wasn't much white left in there. And I'm going to dry that off. I'm going to come back and I'm going to kind of stroke this down a bit and blend those colors. So I'm going in the direction of the petals. I'm running out of ammunition here. Yeah, I don't know if I would really want to add in, whoops, that was the wrong size, a shade. I don't know. You could do a little bit of cocoa or something, but I don't know if that's what I want to do. Okay, now I'm just taking the Snow White and I'm kind of cleaning off some of that yellow. I need more. So I don't really want much yellow left in here at all, because I'm going to go back over the ends again, because I'm trying to brighten them up a little bit. Yeah, because if you come back with like cocoa or something, I just think it's going to make it too dirty looking. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, while I'm here, this is kind of bright, but I'm still going to come with the white over the tops of those. Oops, the bee stripes. I probably should have done that with a mix of that sunny day. But anyway, it's okay. Now here I do want a little bit of cocoa or honey brown. I'm going to just use, or sable brown. Sable brown will work too. I don't know if I want it as dark as asphaltum. Maybe. I don't know. Let me try it first with the honey brown, and then I will see if I want it to be darker. I can certainly do that. I might make that a little darker. Okay, let me try a little bit of asphaltum. I have a reason that I want to go a little darker. Okay. Okay, now you can just take a stylus and create little dots, or you can do like little hashtag slashes on top of this. And we're going to use a number of different colors to do this. So, so what you do is you just load up the tip of your angled brush. So I'm going to put like a little bit of asphaltum, and I'm going to put a little bit of honey brown. Okay, so I'm going to condition those, and I'm just going to start just adding in some little hashtags. Just pulling some little bitty hashtags. But like I said, if you want it, you could do this with a stylus too. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my brush. I'm not really cleaning it, but I added more water, and now I'm going to use some of this Sunny Day and a little bit of this honey brown. I'm going to try that now. So they're just like little hashtag application. Oh, that message dinging thing's going to drive me crazy. But you could have done these colors just with a stylus. So definitely didn't don't have to do them as these little strokes. So then I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow, and I want to take a little bit of this vintage pink, just because I want to tie some of that in, but I'm not going to use as much, but I kind of want to introduce it because it's in the daisy itself. So I'm just going to add in a little bit. Okay. So it just does something a little different. Oops, hello, we're upside down. So stylus dots are really cool too. I just wanted to do something a little different. And if you want it to be darker again, at the bottom of this center, you could come back with a little bit of asphaltum and go back over that. I might do that on this one because it's lost some of it. This one I can still see it fine. This one, maybe reinforce it a little bit. That was a little wet. That was a little wet. Try that again. Okay. Yeah, that one's fine. Yeah. Just something different. Something a little different. And, you know, you can add in like a little asphaltum underneath here if you want. But I still don't know if I want to do that because I don't know if I want to lose my colors. That I like my colors. So, but definitely you can shade underneath the centers. Okay, so we're going to set those aside. Now, we're going to do something a little different. Like, we haven't been doing anything different. So everything we've been doing is a little unorthodox. I can't even pronounce that word. Okay. Okay. So now, I want to take that vintage pink, and I want to add it in. And I also want to add in some rust. So I'm trying to decide which comes first, the rust or the vintage pink. So my rust is going to be a combination of some Decowork suede. So there's coffee color and there's suede color. One is brown and one is rust. So I'm just gonna, I don't know how this is going to work. This is kind of an experiment. So, and maybe the coffee is a better color for what I'm doing. This is so orange. Okay, so now this might be a good time to use that brush that I was saying is no longer good. Of course, I threw it over here and I can't find it. Okay, so this product has texture in it. I've used it a number of times in some other things I've been doing. And so it kind of leaves a granular texture behind. So I'm just going to kind of use it in some of these places that I've had the pencil, which then you're like, oh, why did you do the pencil? It's like, really? Put some. So Okay, so I'm going to dry that. Okay, so it's mostly dry, I think. Now I'm going to take some vintage pink, and I'm going to stroke it on where it's not quite wet and it's not quite dry. It's kind of a halfway house. I'm just trying to find the brush I was using earlier to do this. Maybe I'll get a bigger brush. Okay, let's see here. And this brush is in pretty bad shape as well. I'll use this brush because it's already a mess. Okay, so we don't want it to be super wet. We're going to try to follow the direction of the pieces. So this is like a semicircle. Try not to get it on the tulips. So we want some of the rust and also the silver to come through. So we're kind of applying it with a really light hand. I'm not pushing down, so we can kind of control what it's doing. So yeah, you could have just used this brown as your shade and your rust. So the way I did the pencils, probably you could have even skipped that and just used this brown rusty stuff. And you can do the same with paint. There's also there's these products that are grit that you can add to your paint to get that that kind of finish. Some of you may have it already in your supply, something like a texture sand that you can mix with, say, espresso or some other color to give you this kind of rust effect. Whoops, I meant to kind of do that circular. I don't want to completely lose the fact that that's a seam line. I may need to come in and draw that line just so it really looks like it's a seam line. Oh yeah, so this really shouldn't have any paint on it because it's slots into the window box, and if it has too much paint, it's going to be too tight. So I'm quasi dry brushing, quasi damp brushing. Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of everything here to, you know, get a texture. And I'm trying to decide how I feel about the paint versus the metallic. So this bit down here needs to be dark. So that's a pretty rough looking watering can. It may be too rough. I'm not sure how I feel about it. might be too rusty. I don't know. I wonder if I come back with a little bit of the silver on top with a sponge, how that's going to look. Maybe go back and forth between the vintage pink and silver. Do you get that kind of look you're looking for? I don't know. I've done similar water cans before, but this is a little bit different than what I did previously. I'm not sure. Something looks weird on it. All right, I'm going to try a little bit of this Deco Art shimmer. I'm just needing, it's almost like I need the pink to also have a metallic look to it, because right now just the silver is metallic, and the pink being flat, I don't know if I like that look. Maybe it all needs to be a little bit pearlescent. And maybe I don't know what I'm doing. There is a good possibility that that's true, because I've not quite done anything this way before. That silver still looks really strange. Just taking out a little bit more of the rust, because it's awfully strong. And then also it helps to take away some of the silver. Yeah, it's starting to look a little bit better. Let me see, do I like it with the shimmer in there? It does kind of give it a little bit of that metallic look. I don't know if I need much more of that shimmer, or if that's good. Yeah, that might not be bad. I think I'm liking it now. So now that I toned down some of the rust and some of the silver, so, and then added in a little bit of shimmer here and there, So the shimmer helps to give it a little bit of a metallic look. So that's different. That's a little bit different. Then this line here goes around. I think I'll redo that one. Okay, a little bit more there. Okay, so I think that kind of shows you that handle. Okay, so it's definitely a distressed watering can. Oops, I see a little spot there that needs a touch of the asphaltum. There we go. Probably could use more. Okay, something like that. Well, did it turn out the way I was expecting? No, it did not. It did not. But I just didn't want my watering can to be flat. Wanted it to have something special going on with it. So I don't know if that works or not, but that's what I got. Okay, so we need to lighten up these guys here. So, and also put some shading in. So I'm going to use some of that love potion to do some of the shading in the dark areas. So all right, so we are assuming that this area here is a little bit darker. And that area would be a little bit darker. That just soaked in that color like crazy. That love potion is definitely very translucent. It's dark, but it is translucent. So this area in here would have a little bit more darkness. Go back in there. That's darker. And that is darker. Okay, I brought out the heavy-duty cranberry wine, or I could have used cherry Merlot, so it's a little bit deeper. And Love Potion's beautiful, but it is a little bit translucent. So it's it's really having a hard time as a shading color here. So this cranberry wine's a little bit deeper, a little less translucent. Okay. And then, so, I want to add in highlight for this, and we used dragon fruit ink on that, and we also used dragon fruit on that. So now we can use dragon fruit here too as a dry brush, because these were the darker raspberry, I believe. So we're going to come back with a little bit of the dragon fruit and go into the lighter areas. So again, that's dragon fruit. Wipe that down, come in, play off the edges a little bit. It's okay to bring it in on the edges here, even though we've shaded in there, but this is doing something different. So you're not taking away from the shading, but you're making the tips a little bit lighter because they're getting more sunlight. So you can keep doing that until you like the shade. There we go. So since this is already the dragon fruit, now we need to think, what are we going to use to lighten that? And we could use vintage pink, which is what we have here. If we want, we can use vintage pink. So let's see, that's a little bit more coral color. Just going to use a bit of it, just a bit of it, just a little bit. Because I don't really want to lose that nice dragon fruit color. And then I'm going to come back with like a little bit of baby pink, which is even lighter. Okay, and then we're going to make the bottom a little darker, so we're going to come back in with that love potion on our dirty brush, and we're going to flip this, and we're going to add in some of the darker tones down here, but it is picking up a lot of the colors I was just using. Let me try that again. So there's that. I think I might want it to be a little bit lighter on the top. I don't normally wash out my dry brushes until I'm finished with them, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay, I'm gonna come back with a little bit more of this baby pink. I also have, I might try the bubblegum pink. Use a little bit of that too. Yeah, that's what it needed. It just needed a pop at the top, you know? That's better. There we go. That's kind of cute. And you could put a pattern on that too. You could do like dots or something. Okay, and now I did that. I'm gonna come in and do some of those lighter colors on this flower. But I also need to do a shade. So I'm going to shade. I'm going to try this Love Potion again. So going into the darker area here. Brush was too wet. Okay. Go back over that shade again because my brush was really wet and didn't get enough color. Okay. It's a little bit better. And then I feel like I want to make some of these edges pop a little bit more. So I think I'm going to get some neon pink. So if that doesn't make it pop, nothing will. Okay. So let's see here. I guess I'll do it as a float because you have a choice to do it as a float or you can put it on a dry brush. So however you want to do it. Okay. Same up here on the tippy tips. So that's a multi-surface paint, and it's a little goopy. It's a little different than the regular Americana not texture, but consistency. It's a little different. It's a little thicker than what I'm used to with Americana. So this is a Deco Art paint, but it's a multi-surface. So I think like you can use it on different things like even glass. So it definitely has a slightly different texture, consistency to it. Yeah, it's just very different. I got to do something about that. Okay. And now, what if I use a little bit of white? Yep. I don't know whether to put white in there or not. Okay, so now we have these guys here. Let's see, a little bit of white. So that's Joyful Pink. That might actually be pretty good. That one is Fuchsia Pop. Oh, that's good too. And that one is Strawberry. A little dark. And that one is Carousel Pink. That's a good place to go. Okay. Let me try Joyful Pink first. I'm going to dry brush it. And I'm going to concentrate on the edges of the flowers. So the darker bit would be kind of in the middle, kind of shading underneath this. So, so we're going to concentrate on the outer edges. Okay, that one's still got pink in it. I'm going to go ahead and use that before I wash it out. It's a little small, but okay, that was a little wet too. Oh well. Little bit of Joyful Pink. Okay, I'm going to take some of this neon pink. Just going to see how it works. Okay, so let's think about what we want to do with those little puppies. Oh yeah, we had gotten Lilac Meadow. So first of all, I want to add in a little bit of white on the edges of this. So I'm using my dirty brush, so it's not really going to be full forced white because it is mixed with the dirty brush. So you're getting like a lavender pink color, a pinkish white. Like it. Okay, so now I'm gonna take some of this Lilac Meadows and my dirty brush, because it's already got a similar tone in it now. And we're going to bring it over here and do our edges. So this color was Frosted Plum. And then we have a button that will go on top of it that is yellow. We need to do something with that. Yeah, I like that. I like that. These flowers dry brush really well. Okay, a little bit more Snow White, just to make some of the edges pop. You don't want to pull this as far, because you don't want to lose all of that lovely lavender. I know it's Lilac Meadows, but you don't want to lose that color. But you want the very tippy tips to have just a little bit more white on them. And if some are a little bit deeper than others, that is perfectly fine. Go back over it until you're happy. See, big difference, big difference. Yay, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Those colors together worked really well. So starting with the Love Potion. So, oh, come on. Where are you? Okay. So we need to do something with the yellow that kind of keeps it in sort of the same sort of feeling. So we did Sunny Day on them. So I could use a little bit of banana cream, which is a more muted yellow. So a little bit of banana cream. Yep, that works. That indeed does work. These are little stripes on the bee. So we're gonna try to add in some banana cream on those as well, if I can get them to behave themselves. Okay, that's one set. And then where's the other set? I'm losing everything. Banana cream. And then little antenna. I think they probably need a little bit more paint on them. I'll worry about them later. Okay, so the banana cream looks pretty good. It's kind of muted, like the flowers, so that's good. Okay, so I'm going to see kind of where we are and where we need to go. Okay, so that's where we are. Now, this scallopy thing's supposed to be here. And so I like how I did that edge. So I'm going to lose a lot of that. I'll have to think about what I'm going to do next. I'm going to sleep on it. So the bees look flat. Everything's very muted, so I've got to make the bees look a little bit more vintagey. Got to do something cool to them. I don't know if I need to do more on the foliage. It's not popping the way I like. Yeah, I don't know. It's coming along. It looks a little different. Yeah, it's okay. So I got to sleep on it and think about it. Trying to see. Kind of feels like it does need something up there. But I did such beautiful work on the edges. I'll have to come up with something there. Make it look very vintagey. My favorite part are these daisies. I love the way those daisies came out. All right, I gotta sleep on this. So I will continue in the morning. Okay, I need to put some, I'm going to put some Enchanted Shimmer on here. If you can't get Enchanted Shimmer, because I know it's been discontinued, any kind of pearlescent, and then you could even add glitter to your pearlescent. Just something to make it look like a little bit more transparent wings. So these hearts are actually wings. So I just sponged some of that on. I'm kind of tempted, because there's more of this elsewhere, just to touch this on the very edges of these daisies where there's white. So not there, in the areas where it's white, just lightly. So it's just enough to say I'm here without it really overtaking the piece. So, okay. We need to work on this as well. I could even do it on all these little edges here. Okay. I feel like I need to do more on the greenery, but I will deal with that in a little bit. So with our bees, we want them to look a little bit more distressed. This is a yellow ochre pencil. I'm just going to go, I'm going to do some of this with pencil. So I'm going back over some of these areas where I got some black, and let me see, I want to have a brown. This is a light umber. I want to separate this. So I just want those to be separate right there. Okay. And I'm going to add some little bit of shading down here. Okay, I need a little bit of an orangey tone. This is poppy red. Okay, so we have to make the bees look a little bit more distressed. So we're going to add in some gray tones to that. Maybe a little bit of brown tones. I'm just trying to find my grays. Da-dee-da-dee-da. There they are. All right. Let's see here. Do a little bit of brown in here too. Oh yeah, that's really helping. So you already can see by adding in a little bit of the gray and the brown that it's kind of distressing the bees. Oh, it's distressing the bees. The bees are very distressed. Not that kind of distress, but anyway, you know what I mean. So it just helps to add in, and it can be a little bit harder with paint when you're dealing with something as small as this. You can get a little bit of warm white or gray or whatever, and introduce that if you want. If you're not that keen on using colored pencils, or if you don't have them, you just do a similar thing. Just get a liner and come in and do some of this. But definitely our bees, they needed something because they were too clean. So we had to make them distressed. We don't want our bees to be distraught because they need to make honey. We want our bees to be emotionally happy and well adjusted. So I kind of feel like I need a brighter yellow. This yellow is yellow ochre, which is a little bit darker. It was very close to the sunset gold shade I was using. So let me see if I can find a brighter yellow. And on these pencils, like if you have some, you don't have to go with the colors I'm picking. Go with what you have. Like this is called Deco Yellow. I just picked it out of the blue because it's a lighter, brighter yellow. So go with what you have. So I'm taking that and doing it on the areas where you would think you'd have highlights, like in the middle of the stripes. Oops, what am I doing? Oh, dear me. I wasn't even paying attention. I'm just penciling away and doing it where I'm not supposed to do it. Now I got to find an eraser. Okay. Silly me. May want to just come out lightly. Make that just a little bit more rounded as opposed to irregular. So that helps a little bit. So we're going to put in a little eye. And then I'll come, oops, nope, that doesn't look in the right place. And then I'll come in with a dot of paint for that. About right there-ish. And And I might even just do a little bit of shading onto the wings here. It's not going to really show up much because we have that iridescent that kind of repels colored pencils, but just a little something down here. And in this situation, you do kind of have to press a little harder because that iridescent is almost like, oh, I'm kind of off camera. It's almost like a seal. It is a seal. It's not just a paint. It actually seals the work. So those have to be sprayed now because the pencil will smear if it's not spray fixed. Okay, let me see. I'm just gonna kind of blend in here. For one thing, I want to hide that boo-boo there. So I'm just kind of blending some of these lines right here. I still want to see some of the highlight, but I don't want it to be quite so bright. Okay. Yeah, I think that kind of has a better match for what we were doing. Okay. A little bit brighter. Okay. And we need just a touch of paint there, but I'm going to spray it first. Okay, so I sprayed these little guys, and then I also used this drywall tape. I held it in place. I didn't want it to go all the way down into the shaded area. I just wanted it to stay in the lighter areas. So I used a bit of toffee, and then while it was still on, and I just used a sponge because it was handy instead of a stencil brush. And while it was still, I still was holding it in place, I added a little bit of the white enchanted shimmer. So, because I'm trying to get things to kind of tie in a little bit more. And then I came back with a little bit more Irish moss on the high points of the leaves, and I also used a little bit of Sunny Day afterwards. That made it just a little bit brighter. And you could come in with a marker or a liner with a little bit of brown if you want to put lines in. I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't necessarily want to draw more attention to the leaves. They're just kind of there in the background. And I also used a little bit of avocado toast down here because some of this may peep out. And then, like I said, on the back, you kind of need to do some kind of color back here. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but like you can go all solid, or like you can do some of it, and you know, I'll have to check to see just how much is going to show once I put it in the window box. Okay, I'm a little close now. Let me, okay. All right, so the next thing I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start putting a few of these pieces on, and then I'm going to spray fix them and then varnish. I still have the sign to do, so I want to see how it all comes together, and then I'm going to make a decision about the color. One color I really, really, really like in all of this was the Love Potion. I might see about using that, but I'm going to take some time and glue some pieces together and spray varnish. I am going to go ahead and put Love Potion on this base. So that's what I used on that. I just really like this color. So I'm going to brush that on, or you can sponge it on too, whichever you prefer. So all the lettering will be covered up. So it's not like you're really protecting anything by sponging. So if it's easier for you to brush it, just brush it on. So I'm trying to come up with something creative for this little piece here. So I probably want to keep it warm white or white or something. So I put some of that rust effect on it. And now I need to put more white back on it. Let's see. I've made a complete mess over here because I've been working on doing the lettering. I'm not sure if I like this or not. It's really, really strong. But because I have a laser cutter, if I don't like it, if I decide I want to make another sign, I can do that. It's very poppy. It pops because this is so dark. That's partially Love Potion, and then I have a product that's called Gloss Spray by Dina Wakely. And these sprays are really kind of difficult to use, but I have a bunch of them, so it's the same. It comes out as the same color as Love Potion, except it's got a gloss in it already. It's got a sealer in it, and then I splattered some bubble gum on it, bubblegum pink. Yeah. And the letters were done in bubblegum pink and then vintage pink. And then I used the dirty sponge that I used to do this, the two colors of pink. So it was bubblegum and then it was vintage. Because I wanted it to not just be vintage, but I didn't want it to be bubblegum either. And then I used my dirty sponge that had some vintage pink in it, and I used some Snow White, mixed it together, sponged the top, and then came back with a little bit of shimmer white as well, so that the top would be a little bit lighter, so you get that ombre effect. But hey, that is very strong, so I don't know. That may be too strong. I have to give it some thought. Okay, so back to the problem at hand. Let me get some white paint for this. So either warm white or snow white. I might use warm white this time. I'll just use this palette I've got going over here. Looks like I already had a little bit of Snow White left there. Okay. And paper towel. So we don't want to completely lose that rust effect. Oops, maybe a little heavy, I don't know. So I'm just kind of stippling with my brush. Up and down, light touch. All right. And maybe I should have reversed it and done the darker bit at the top and the curved scallops light, because maybe that would have made more sense. I don't know. But I kind of like it. So it's got to have that shimmer. So right now it's matte. We don't want matte. So go back to this. I'm almost running out of this one. And I don't have much left since it's been discontinued. Oh, so sad. I don't know how they could get rid of this. Everybody uses it, especially at the holidays. It's very popular at the holidays. Everybody wants a little bit of white shimmer on their Christmas projects or their winter projects. You gotta have it. Oh yeah, that's kind of looking interesting. I kind of like that. really like those wings the way they turned out as well. Okay, so I've started to spray things, and I'm going to start gluing pieces together as well. Does that have enough shimmer in it? It looks really good though. Looks good. So, because it's this same effect, you're just trying to make everything a little distressed, or maybe a lot distressed, I don't know. Whoops, okay. I shouldn't have done that. That was too much white. I ruined the shimmer I had there. Sometimes when I have a dirty brush and it's got a paint in it, it's like, oh, this would look good here. Yeah, well, usually, but not that time. All right, so the next time you see me, I'm going to have everything put together, and then you can see whether or not I kept this very bright in your face placard part of the sign, or whether I changed it. It is very, very dark and bright and vibrant. So, all right, I'm going to finish this up, and I will see you when this is done. Alrighty, so I now have finished this window box insert. So you can see that I added in some rhinestones and bling. So I put in little rhinestones here on the buttons, in the bee eyes, on the spout, and then I did like little pearls up here on this scalloped piece, and then there's some rhinestones there as well. So that is what it looks like now, and this is how it goes in the window box. There's also a breadboard display that you can use as well, and that's what it looks like. So thank you so much for coming to watch this video. This is Kathy McAllister, Teawife Creations. I appreciate you guys, and this kit is available on my website if you want to order it to make one for yourself. And until then, we will see you soon. Take care. Bye.